Okay, the last section here is how to handle the difficult caller. Everyone has either had to make a difficult telephone call or they've had to receive a difficult telephone call. Let me just walk you through some of my experiences. For one of my jobs, which I must have drawn the short straw, is I was the complaints partner for one of the firms I was working in, which meant that if there was a complaint about how a file was being run from a client, then they would be sent through to me. So, the first thing I learned is that you must let the person vent. Let the person say what the problem is, make the encouraging signs of whatever's, to actually encourage them to go on through the whole story. If you interrupt, then they're going to just raise the ante because they're already in an upset, stroke aggressive, and they want to get something off their chest. The best thing to do is to let them get it off the chest and do not take it personally, okay? You're in business. It may be your company, but you actually have to listen to criticism and you have to respond accordingly. So, let them vent. It's the easiest way. Once they've said everything they've said, then you can start to swing into action. At that point there, it's important to have some sort of plan. So take notes as you're going along, because then you can refer to bits of the conversation and actually then have a plan. It may be, I will need to look into this, I will need to talk to my supervisor, or I need to get back to you on this. But have something where you can go to as your next point. You can't just say, okay, you've got me. Have a plan. Do something, a proactive thing to actually push and solve the matter if there is a problem there. Take a number, make sure you've got their name and their number correctly, because then you can call them back. Then we go back to the returning call section at the beginning. Make sure you do return that call. You've already pacified them. You don't want all that hard work to be done by them not following it up. Another thing which I discovered is that actually you need to soften your tone when somebody is actually complaining, or somebody's got something on their chest they need to get out, and you need to actually soften your voice. You need to be understanding, you need to be listening as if you were in a conversation face to face. You say everything as if that person is sat there in front of you, okay? Just because they're down the other end of the phone doesn't mean that you can actually do things you wouldn't get away with if you were face to face. The last thing you want to do is meet fire with fire. Like everyone, you lose sometimes your temper. I've done it with a client. Thankfully, he's a friend of mine, and it usually ends with the dramatic throw the phone down with various swear words. And of course, because we were mates, we actually rang back each other in half an hour and we apologised to each other. That was lucky, but do keep your temper in check. Remember, you are the actor on the stage. Your personal feelings, your moods have to be outside of it. If somebody rings you and goes, oh, it's you again, that sets the wrong tone. You've got to be the professional, you've got to be the actor, and pronounce and soften the voice and encourage them to actually work the problem through with you, that actually you are on their side. Sometimes you just have to be the bigger man or woman. You have to just actually suck it up and actually just take it a little bit on the chin. Take it one for the team, as it were. Don't worry, it's not personal. And as soon as the phone goes down, you can deal with something else. So don't worry, it's not a permanent stasis here. But do actually be the bigger person. Own that conversation. It's also okay to say, I don't know. That was one of my biggest fears as being a new lawyer, is if the client asked me a question and I didn't know the answer, what would I say? So you have one or two options. You can either give them the BS. The BS is bad. The client or the person will spot it a mile away, and you make yourself look like a real fool. Plus also, whilst your mouth is running, whilst you've actually put your brain in neutral, all sorts of other stuff will come out which you never even intended to say, and then you might start giving all the wrong advice. And at that point then, not only then have you, when you actually have gone back and done your research, not only have you got to go and do the phone call, you've actually got to go and retract all the other advice or whatever you've said earlier. So it's a double whammy. It's so much easier just to say, look, I don't know, but I will find out. You'll get a lot more respect from the person you're dealing with if you're straight with them. If you're not straight with them, they can't trust you. And actually, you're dealing with something where it's actually just with your tone, it's your voice. They can't see all your facial and your hand movements. So you've actually got to be straight with people. If you're straight, they will be straight with you back. That is one lesson I learned really early on, and it got me through so many other things. You are not expected to walk around with an encyclopedia of knowledge in your brain. You can know where to look it up. That's the important thing. Knowing who to talk to and knowing where the answer is. And finally, making the actual difficult phone call, or having the phone call pushed upon you when you're not prepared, is something where you just have to deal with by experience. What I found for me is, if I was making a difficult phone call, I would stand up. I felt that actually by standing up I felt more in control, and my voice changed to depend on what the conversation was. You can't be happy-go-lucky with everything. You need to turn your voice to an authoritative tone without being rude or unpleasant. You have to actually change your voice depending on the situation which you're dealing with at the time. But I found standing up at my desk, making the phone call, helped. I also, because I do speak a lot with my hands, I also actually had the invisible conversation as if the person was there with my hand gestures, not the rude ones, the hand gestures to actually try and actually explain the points, because it helps naturally to spike the voice up and down. A straight monotone voice like this does not do any help. It makes you sound as if you don't really care and you're not interested, and I really can't wait till 5 o'clock to when I can punch out. You actually got to invest yourself in it. If you want to sell your business, your product, you have to put the energy, the effort into this, and trust me, it works, and you're going to start making and seeing some big results. Try it out. See how it goes. If you want any other advice or any questions, or if you have any further comments you can add, feel free to contact me. This is all for Business Made Simple.